Hello, you through to the Property Vault with Ashley Wold, and today I'm joined by Ian Ratcliffe. Ian, thank you for jumping on.
No problem.
Do you want to give everybody just a little bit of a bio on yourself?
Yep, so I am co-director, co-owner of Reeve Lilly Estate Agents with my business partner Craig. Estate agency-wise, been doing it about 21 years now, which I can't believe. I actually counted up the other day. It was 21 years. I have been running this branch for about 18 months with Craig. Before that, Craig begged me to join him. I was at another local independent.
Begged.
Oh, man, honestly, I can show. I've got the receipts to prove it. He was begging me to join him. He was struggling. No, he wasn't. No, but basically, from the last 21 years, I've hopped around estate agency, from corporate to independent to Purple Bricks to here to EXP.
Okay, awesome. 21 years. So how old would you be when you joined?
20 years old.
Okay.
You do the maths.
Yeah, fair play, fair play. So talk us through your estate agency career then, if you can.
So I joined Connells to start with. I did the classic, I don't know if you remember these group interviews I used to do. 30 people in the room, stand up, say a bit about yourself. And I got offered the job. And I wasn't looking to be an estate agent. Like, I didn't grow up wanting to be an estate agent. It just, it intrigued me. So went for the job, got the job. And at the time, at 20 years old, it was a job. Mm-hmm. I was looking forward to going out the weekend. I was excited to earn a bit of money to spend, going out. And that was basically it. And then I started to get quite good at it. And then they said, oh, Ian, do you fancy going out valuing houses? And so I was like 18 months in and went out to value a house. I was like, oh, this is exciting. And that was it. And then literally from there, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I never had no intention of being an estate agent. But like I said, 18 months in, after getting out on the road, valuing, sitting on the sofa, having these conversations, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah. I think that's like a lot of people, though, when it comes to estate agents, isn't it? Like, they don't actually know that they're not set out to become estate agents, have they?
Yeah, and if they are, they're weird. Like, who's like 14 years old wants to be an estate agent? It's not sexy.
Well, having said that, though, let's be fair, there's a lot of like influential stuff out there now, which may make it look.
Now, yes. 20 years ago, this was not a sexy job. I don't think it was anyway. It was big suits, corporate offices. It was, But I do feel so lucky to be where estate agency is right now. Like, from where I started to what I thought I panned my career out to be to where I am today, it's such a better place to be. Like, I'm so jealous of anyone that's like 20 years old now doing this job, because this didn't exist. EXP didn't exist. This opportunity that we've got just didn't exist. The chance to become your own boss was 150 grand away. You want to. I did it all. I did the startup cost. I wrote it all down. The Rightmove, subscriptions, the office, and it just was like, this is never going to happen. This is like, I'm always going to be employed. I'm always going to be working for somebody else. That was it. And you kind of just accepted that and plodded along. Mm-hmm. But how things have changed.
Yeah, it was crazy, to be fair. So you did Connells. How long was you there for?
So Connells, 4 years. And then there was a local estate agent in Leicestershire, Leicestershire, Northamptonshire, called Harrison Murray.
Okay.
They were probably the best in my area. So they came to me, heard I'd been doing okay at Connells. Right, and I thought, well, basically it's the same job for a better company. So sure, that means more listings, more money. So jump ship. And actually, they were quality. The difference between Connells and Harrison Murray as an independent was a mile apart. They were, everyone was local. Everyone was a very good team, and I really got on well with them. And I was there for probably 2 years, where I got approached again by another local independent estate agent called Taylor's Estate Agents, not the big countrywide one, a little one. And they, it was like, I was in the Premier League with Harrison Murray, and it's like the Championship came calling saying, fancy joining us? And I was like, no, thank you. A few months later, they came back with another offer and said, right, we've got an office for you. It's going to be your office in this location. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's what I want. If I'm going to move, I want my own office, I want my own setup. So I jumped ship, joined this company, went to the branch wasn't ready for me yet. So I went to their other branch, and they said, oh, while you're here, Ian, do you mind just going out valuing some houses? Yeah, no problem, I'll do that, I'll value some houses. 6 months goes by. Where's this office that you've got ready for me? Is it ready yet? Oh, not yet. You just keep going. 7 years later, I was still valuing houses for that branch. Office never materialised, and I just ended up staying there at Taylor's. And to be fair, brilliant bunch of lads, brilliant guy. And even though they got me there under false pretenses, it was actually one of my best moves moving to those guys. So yeah,
7 years.
7 years, yeah. But I kind of cottoned on after about a year. I was like, yeah, this ain't happening, is it? But at that point, I'd already fell in love with the place, the lads, the team. It was just a great place to work. So, but yeah, got me there under false pretenses. But I look back and go, actually, yeah, what a great time I had.
So even though you were just listing, well, say only, but you weren't the manager of the branch, you didn't have your own branch.
No, still a lister at that point. And you know what? At that point, I had no ambition to be a manager. It was never on my radar. I know that seems like the natural progression from neg to valuer to manager, but I looked at that job and it was, in the office, it was reports, it was telling people what to do. Whereas my job, in the car, window down, music on, drive to a house, lunch in between, meet people, front, face of the company type thing. That was much more appealing to me. So I had no ambition to become a manager at any point there. So yeah, I stayed a valuer for quite a long time. But I suppose you were a valuer, but also, you're kind of second in command to the manager, but not without the responsibility, basically.
Well, yeah, without you doing a good job out on the road, the manager isn't necessarily only backing you up, otherwise, are they?
I can't sit at a desk for more than 2 hours. I mean, I'm not sure how long this is going to go on for, but I'm already getting itchy feet. So, it was just never appealing to me. And I think that I really felt lucky that I was in the position I was as a valuer, because and at that time, that's really, I thought to myself, this is probably it. Like, where do I go from here? I don't want to be a manager. I can't afford to own my own estate agency. I'm just going to be the best valuer I can. And that was it at that point.
And did you do well in the 7 years that you were there?
Yeah, smashed it. Yeah, it was...
Take them to the Premier League?
Yeah, they were Premier League by the time I left. Never looked at it like that, but yeah, they were. They were a great company. And there's a lot of history behind that company that's kind of popped up recently, which I won't go into this podcast because it might bore you. But they ended up selling to Whitegates, the guy that owned Whitegates franchise. So then from there, it kind of... the family that was Taylor's just dissolved and off it went, and we all kind of branched out to different places. And I still stay in touch with every single one of those people from Taylor's, which is always a good sign. When you work
for sure.
You stay in touch. And to this day, I mean, I've literally, the guy that's coming at 3:30, he's a guy I used to work with at Taylor's. So it was sad the way it ended, but yeah, great time there.
Yeah, good on you. So from there then, where did you go to?
So that's where I went to this Whitegates franchise. The brand kind of disappeared, Taylor's, it turned to Whitegates. And it kind of reverted back to that kind of corporate style. Management, middle management, designated roles, very, very kind of corporate. And I lost myself there. I was there for maybe 2 years and I forgot who I was as a valuer, as an estate agent, as a person, didn't enjoy it, but you couldn't see it. It happened gradually and got towards like 18 months in, 2 years in. And I just thought, I'm just not as happy as I was. I just don't know. And I didn't know where to go. And there wasn't many opportunities out there other than the job I was doing. And I was just like, is this it? Is this how I'm going to feel like this everywhere I go? But then I ended up joining, this was the point when I heard about being a partner, self-employed partner model. And it's with Sean Newman down at Newman's, down in Rugby. Mm-hmm. And I had a friend that helped him out in financial services. And he said, you need to come over. This is the next big thing. This is happening. Come and join us. And yeah, I ended up going down and joining Sean down at Newman's, which again, I don't know if you ever met Sean Newman.
Yeah, well, I went to the summit earlier this year.
He's got like an aura around him. Yeah, brilliant guy, nice bloke all around, and I learned a lot while I was there. But the problem for me was it was just that the patch wasn't Leicestershire, so I was doing a bit of travelling, but I learned a lot. But I decided actually not for me at Newman's, so jumped ship again.
How long did you say that lasted for?
Wasn't a year.
Okay.
Wasn't a year. Yeah, I was working in a patch I didn't know. And it felt like starting again, and you don't know your streets, you don't know the schools, you don't know the average price. And I felt like, an amateur. I didn't like it, didn't enjoy it. So I either had a choice to say, right, I'm now going to be down there and become a pro down there and take my time with it, or cut it now and get back to Leicestershire. So made that decision.
Were leads fed to you in that time that you were there, though, or did you have to self-generate?
No, it was self-generating. And it was the transition of going from employed to self-employed back then. This was before... And EXP before I knew about a Keller Williams or a Remax. Sean was quite early on with the partnership model, and so I think they were learning as we were learning, and it was a case of a lot of door knocking, a lot of leaflet drop in. Even Facebook back then the groups wasn't quite popping like it is now and stuff. So it was a really alien experience, and I was a bit of a guinea pig. But I went for it. I tried it because I could see what it could be, but it didn't quite work for me though.
Right. Okay.
But that's through lack of maybe knowledge and what I know now versus what I knew then, like a world apart. Whereas when I first started, I didn't feel like I quite had the guidance from them.
There must have been something, I think, emotionally within you though that disconnected you, because obviously having the years of experience that you had prior, like you could have learned all that stuff.
I think it was more I find that when I go and sit on someone's sofa, I like to talk about the school that's in the area. I like to talk about I've got a friend that lives down there. I've got an experience in that location, and I want to be an expert in that location. And I was so used to that my whole career, and then I was just chucked into a different territory. And again, I'd sit on the sofa, and I didn't know that there was a motorway being built, 3 miles away. I didn't know about the new development. I didn't know the school was particularly good in this area. I was trying to learn it, but I thought, why? I've got all this knowledge of my area. Why am I wasting it? Why don't I just go back there? And then, yes, another opportunity turned up, a little purple opportunity.
Purple opportunity.
Purple bricks. Yeah, so I ended up joining there, which is where I met the one half of Reeve, Mr. Stevens.
Okay. So did you guys work the same, well, not same area, because you had patches, didn't you?
We did, yes and no. Like, we did work the same area. You'd have like 2 to 3 people per postcode. And me and Craig were the same. So I think the fact that I had that experience with Craig led us to where we were today, because if I hadn't worked with Craig basically at the same level, we were literally, there was 12 people, and me and Craig were 1 and 2, battling it all the time. Craig's super competitive, and I think when we first kind of met each other, there was a little bit of friction because he wanted to be the best, I wanted to be the best. But then it became so often that we were kind of 1 and 2 that we just ended up getting to know each other a bit more and became friends basically from there. And I did have a blast at Pebble Bricks. Like the first 6 months to a year, like most people, was brilliant. And then it soon catches up on you, because the numbers are just relentless. The job's relentless. Pay was great, and again, that was the first time I'd experienced real pay outside of your basic kind of corporate style income. And I thought, like, wow, this is amazing. But then it really did catch up with you. Like the burnout was month 8. I was on holiday with my laptop. I was at birthday. I never forget my nephew was 8. I was at their birthday party. There's a video of him blowing out his candles. I'm on my laptop in the corner, dealing with Pebble Bricks, issues or whatever. So yeah, it was amazing as an experience, and I met some great people. I mean, if you look at the industry now, people that have got Pebble Bricks on a CV, it was an amazing place to work, but massive learning curve, like huge. Like I credit a lot of our success today to what I learned at Pebble Bricks. Bearing in mind I've done the job for so long before, that place taught me so much.
I suppose because you were your own boss, and you were within your own rights in that scenario then, so to speak. So i.e. you would probably, day was planned probably for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I mean, the valuations were relentless. So you had your calendar, and they were just dropped in. You'd be talking 5-7 valuations every day. So every day you would just you'd drive from one house to one house to one house to one house. Lucky if you got a break in between, you're back home. But they were listing as well, so you were earning. The downside for me was the model just didn't work. There was so much of the front end, there was so much focus on listing. Actually, if they sold or not, you could tell that it wasn't really a focus, which, ultimately that's what we do. We're not listing houses, we're meant to be selling houses, we're meant to be there on the journey, we're meant to hold the hand from start to finish. But the way that model was set up, it was just all numbers, get them on the market, get them on the market. I didn't morally enjoy working there. 6 months in, you kind of worked out, oh, actually, I'm listing these houses, and that's my focus because that's how I get paid. But actually, my focus is now taken away from, viewing feedback, dealing with the vendor situation, caring for them, holding the hand, going around for cups of tea. Just couldn't do any of that. It was just, you were literally just out valuing houses, take on. So you're all front end. And as we know, the back end at Pebble Bricks just was where it all fell down.
I was going to say, so would you not have had your customers when you were there, like just ringing you off the hook, like asking you to, like, I mean, obviously I know there was different packages in terms of whether the vendor was doing the viewings or you would do the viewings for them at an extra cost, etc. But like, if you've got 5 to 7 valuations in your diary a day, which I personally, 4, I'm exhausted at the moment, to be honest. I used to do 5 and I was absolutely flat out. do 5 valuations over 5 days, you are, so 7.
And that's the thing as well. Your diary was open to, you were expected to do certain days, but you could do 7 days if you wanted. And when you're new to the business with no kind of customers at the minute, you just open it up for 7 days, and you can literally do that for 7 days. But yes, so your first week, you might list 5 or 6, and the next week 5 or 6, and some will sell. But what happens eventually is between the first 6 months and a year, you've got this huge amount of clients that haven't sold, and they're all on the phone to you every day, as well as the new people you're trying to list, as well as the current viewings that are coming through, as well as your vendor contacts. And it just snowballed into this huge monster of just, unhappy people because they weren't getting the service. And the thing is, I wanted to give them the service, but I just couldn't. And that's why the model just didn't work. You couldn't be your best. You couldn't be as good as you wanted to be. If I did dedicate more time to my sales, then I'm not listing the front end, and I'm not earning, because that's why you used to earn. So it was a very broken model for the customer. For the agent, you could earn. If you didn't have morals, you didn't care, you could just earn, you could list and go that way. But it just didn't sit well with me. It took 6 months plus to work it out, because it wasn't to that point where you had all these kind of clients where we're just building up that, they weren't getting the attention they needed. And I think anybody speaking to a Purple Bricks, your life-work balance was just non-existent. It was just relentless.
So did you then decide from the 6 month to 12 month mark that you would take the weekend off, or give yourself a day or two where the diary was closed?
Do you know what? I can't. Looking back, I didn't have a sit down. Let's think about it. It was so relentless. It happened until I quit. It just happened until the day I said this is too much, because you just couldn't. If you try to have a few days off, people will be on the phone still. It's like now, if I said to you, right, just don't work, don't book any appointments now. Your phone will still ring for the next month solid.
Yeah.
So, and then if you're not listing, you're not earning. So it was it wasn't ever a time where you could just make that decision. I think as well, it was my career, it was my job. This is how I was going to, become successful. So I was just relentless with it. Didn't have kids at the time, so you could spend a bit more time in the evenings and weekends doing things like that. But it was absolute burnout. It was burnout because I was programmed to list houses, to sell houses. That was my job for so long, to list, go out there and sell the dream and list the property. And at Purple Bricks, that's kind of all it was. There was no kind of plan B if your house didn't sell in the first month. It was just left to sit there. And even if it did sell, the progression of sale afterwards was so difficult. I don't even know if they knew how big it was going to get, and whether they just didn't have the numbers to control it. But the model just didn't work.
But I mean, obviously, the monthly paychecks must have made it somewhat bearable for the duration that you were there. But like in terms of marketing, I remember TV adverts for Purple Bricks, which on my recent podcast with Craig, I actually said I don't even see Purple Bricks boards anymore, if I'm brutally honest.
No.
And I think obviously it's because of brokerages like EXP and many others that are coming in now, where the customers are actually, it's flipped on its head, hasn't it?
100%.
They're no longer paying a cheap fee, but they're probably actually paying a higher fee to these individuals, but they're getting the service they expect.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said, like I said earlier in this chat, where it is today, where I am today, where the industry is in today, I didn't even think it was possible to be like this, to be able to dedicate so much time to every single vendor and still get paid, and get paid very well. After Purple Bricks, you just thought it's just going to be numbers game. You just got to kind of go out there. You got to work every hour. God gives you it. But actually, the where it is now, it's nice, because I think the industry is the best it's been. I speak to people that we interviewed yesterday for a job role in the office. The person was only 23 years old, and I said, like, honestly, you don't understand what it was like when I was 23 years old compared to today. It's just the opportunity they've got at that age. If they're social media savvy, if they don't mind getting in front of a camera, and it doesn't matter if you're 19 or 45, you can earn the same money. It's not back in the day, it was like, right, you're a 19-year-old negotiator, you're going to earn this. You're a 30-year-old branch manager, you're going to earn this. Whereas now, sky's the limit. If you've got the ability and if you've got the confidence, you can just So I speak to people and I'm like, blimey, wow, I wish I was you. Being that year again to start to do this. Yeah,
because if they decide to listen, take on board, and put into action, put into play what the nuggets that you guys are feeding to them, working under your umbrella, in 20 years' time when they're wearing your shoes.
Yeah, it's funny because you start to feel like that OG now. Like I say certain things to people, I wish I was you, I could do that. But But it's so true because like if I could go back then, know what I know now, you know, you'd been doing this 10 years ago, if not more. But the opportunity is there now. This is a really exciting industry. This is something that, and I think the social media's definitely helped. They can see the glamorous side of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain programs on Netflix that you can see the glamour in what we do. It's not all glamorous, by the way.
Yeah, it's definitely not. No.
But I think it's just it's a more of an attractive proposition. I think it's scary doing EXP. You know, you are your own boss. There is a comfort a lot of people have in being employed. But again, where we are now, where I am now, you know, it seems crazy to ever pick that role versus this role. You know, being an employed corporate versus being self-employed.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not performing at a self-employed, you won't get paid. But likewise, if you don't perform at a corporate, you're not going to have your job for long. So, you know, the money you can earn here in comparison is just, well, sky's the limit.
Yeah, it is crazy. The thing is, like, it's not just life-changing for us, though, like in the sense of we get to plan our own personal days. Like today's a Friday afternoon, you know, we should technically in theory be working, which this is work. This is the new norm for brokerage, for brokerages now, so to speak. But like we get to plan our own day and whatnot. But it's also life-changing for the customers, the ones that are asking us to help them move home, because they're now getting this service that, in my opinion, hasn't really been there. Like if we look back at when we worked for other people, whether it was on the high street, independent or corporate, hands down, can we honestly say we gave the best service? Because I didn't.
No, the incentive is there for you now, 100%. But I think it's one of these industries, like if you ever make it to EXP, I think the great thing about where we are is that everybody I've met at EXP has been on a similar journey. At some point, they took that leap from employment to self-employment. So we've only got the elite. We've only got the best people. So if you do make that leap and you can get past that first year, then the sky is the limit. Like literally, I think you've got to have a lot of belief in yourself. You've got to decide that this is my career. This is what I want. And if that's what you can do and you get past that first year is tough. I think when you first take that move, not only kind of, you know, maybe with the finances where and on which brokerage you join, but the mental side of I'm no longer employed. I don't have to be sat at this desk at 8:30 anymore. You've got to fill your day with prospecting and you know, generating business. There is a mind shift you have to go through. But that's why I love working where I do now, because every time I come to an event or meet people like yourself, we're all the same. We're all the people that wanted this from the start. We're all the people that took that leap, got past that first year, and we're on the other side. And it does feel like you've won the lottery. It's just a great place to be. Like I come to work, it's so cheesy this, but it doesn't feel like work.
No, it doesn't.
You know, obviously I've got a business partner, Craig, which we bounce off each other. We've got partners coming on board now. You know, my daughter's name's above the door. It's just, you know, I literally like feel like I won the lottery. It's such a different place to where I was like 10 years ago.
You summarise that quite elegantly there, to be honest, mate. Like having said that you feel like you won the lottery, it's because you do something you're passionate and you enjoy, and turning up each day to do that doesn't feel like work because you're also getting paid for it. But let's be fair, it comes with its stresses.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It does it come with its stresses.
After Pepper Bricks and after being at corporates, no, I disagree. I genuinely don't. Because I can be so real and so honest with every person. And I think if you're honest and open and you believe in what you're saying, it's not stressful. Like if I get a bad phone call or if I have a bad situation, I know what I'm capable of, so I don't really get stressed. Versus, you know, walking into an office meeting of have you hit this target? Now I've got to sit there and have a quarterly meeting, or, you know, that was stressful. Doing my job to the best of my ability, I don't feel that stress anymore.
So, I mean, I am a stress head naturally, to be honest. I know that. But for me, like if a sale has collapsed, that is out of your remit.
Yep.
And let's just say they're no longer selling, which is a scenario that I've just had recently. It doesn't happen often, but that stressed me out. Yeah. So you handle that stress quite well.
I mean, it's part of the job.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it'll happen next month. It'll happen in 6 months' time. You know, this too shall pass. You know, good times happen, bad times happen. But all I'll know is in that scenario, you're the professional, you're the expert, and you know exactly what to say to them. Yeah, and that's it. I don't hide from any conversations. You don't have that stress because it's just an issue and you're dealing with it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the client's going to be very stressed. The client's going to be very upset for these horrible scenarios. But you're the professional. We're the professionals. It's our job to have those horrible conversations sometimes. So it doesn't stress me out because I know they're coming. It's part of the job. those lovely completion days, handing out champagne to people, that's a lovely part of the job. But then so is that phone call to say your buyer's pulled out and I've got to tell, 3 other people in the chain. But so it doesn't stress me out because it's a matter of fact.
Well, I hope when I've got the additional 10 years experience that you have, over me, again, showing my age there now.
Oh, to be fair, 10 years ago, I'd have been really stressed about it. It does come a time, it comes easier. But no, I think it just comes back to EXP. Genuinely, I think it comes back to being your own boss. And every conversation I have, from the second I meet someone to the good times to the bad times, I just can be completely myself and completely real. So it means conversations aren't difficult because all I'm being is myself. So they know who I am because I've met them from day one. So when I have to make that phone call, I know it's probably coming from a good place, even though it's a bad call or not a nice call to have. But so yeah, I don't get stressed about it. If somebody's not happy with me or with what I'm doing, again, it doesn't stress me out because I've probably got 99 other clients that are really happy with what I'm doing. And maybe it's more about them. Maybe it's more about them. They're just they're in an emotional state as they're having that conversation. Don't take anything personal. It's a very personal thing we do. But people say things when they're emotional. People, they type those emails when they're emotional. They'll pick up the phone and make those phone calls. But I don't take it personal, so I don't get stressed. I mean, like I said, I feel like I won the lottery. Why am I getting stressed?
Yeah, literally. I must admit, I can't wait for the day personally where I am that bit more relaxed, I'd imagine. And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful. Again, I've said the same as you, really. I feel very fortunate to be in the position that I am, in the sense of having my own team, having my own business. The team I've got are phenomenal. The customers are leaving the 5-star reviews, and you're not going to please everybody, but like, it is going phenomenally well. And I think that we as a team are changing the perception in our local area for the right ways, and you guys are doing the same in your neck of the woods. Exactly. So it's good to see the industry changing over the years, and that comes from not just EXP, different brokerages as well, to be fair. Different models are obviously offering similar somewhat setups. So okay, so you've obviously got Riva Lily with Craig. In terms of goal setting, and where do you get from here? Do you want to keep it where it is because you seem very comfortable and happy?
I think right now it is great, but no, we've got ambitions. I think what we've done here has worked extremely well. So if I was to replicate this in a different location, that would be maybe level 2 for us. I think bringing on partners and being able to chat to people like this and give them the knowledge I've got, make them feel as comfortable as confident I am. It's not, don't get stressed, and it's not that hard. So basically mentoring people, that would be a nice place to be. I think I'll always miss valuing. I don't know if I'll ever stop valuing. I don't know. I just feel like right now I can't confidently say to you in 20 years time, I know Craig's ambition is maybe more to oversee a bit more. I do still quite enjoy the valuing side, being on the road, meeting the people. But I think, goal wise, I think branches and partners is where I would love to be. It'd be, sounds daft, but like having your own little Christmas party and there's like 40 people at the table and they're all there because of you and they're all your partners and I like saying partners. And again, it's going to sound really cheesy. We had a lad called recently, joined us recently, called Harry, and he rang me up on his first Saturday. He joined us. He said, I'm not going to work today. What are you telling me for, Harry? We're partners. You're your own boss. You do you. It's everyone's got their own style and their own way. I've got no expectations of you other than to represent the brand well when you do. But if you don't want to work for this week, it's not a problem. And I think that I want to be in a room of people that have got that confidence but they're all running their own businesses under our brand. That'd be nice. But yeah, that cheesy moment at the Christmas party doing a toast for everybody, those kind of things get me excited. In terms of like longevity, it's hard to look beyond like kind of that really. Sell it all and go to Barbados, mate?
No. I mean, there's a goal, I say. You won't probably sell it, to be fair, because obviously you've got the rev share side of things, haven't you, to be honest? Yeah. So you wouldn't really ever walk away from that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a whole other probably podcast about talking about EXP and the different models. I've worked for a few different brokerages. As I've mentioned, I missed a couple out, actually. And I looked at them all as well. And that rev share side, I don't think people quite grasp how amazing that is. And that was I actually already decided to join EXP, mainly because of Craig. But then I learned about the rev share side once I'd already kind of signed on the dotted line. And I was like, what? And it blew my mind because, again, longevity, I've been doing this 20 years. If you're 25 and you do this for EXP for the next 25 years, you imagine the numbers that are going to be below you in your rev share. It sounds like early retirement for some people. Yeah. Not for us. I think maybe not. But yeah, for some people, if you're in longevity and you just be good at what you do, people will ask you what you do and how do I do that, and all of a sudden that kind of rev share will just grow and grow.
Well, it trickles down anywhere in your team, doesn't it? Like, you know, you are effectively the sponsor of obviously those partners within your team under the Riva Lily brand. So, I mean, I share probably a similar goal to you. I mean, it'd be pretty epic to have more than one branch and to have multiple team running from that. And then all of a sudden you're creating this community in different pockets just surrounding one another.
Yeah.
So hopefully then you become somewhat the dominating agent.
Yeah.
With the highest reputation.
Yeah. And way it's going now, that seems very, very doable, very possible. Again, it's weird to kind of have these dreams. And people talk about like imposter syndrome, just to be saying these words. Again, back when I was that valuer and the ceiling was branch manager, you know, to sit in to say these words to you is like I said, keep going back to it, but I can't believe this is the state of the industry. It's incredible.
It is, to be fair, because the reality is if somebody said to you at the age of 20, by the time you're 25, you could be earning plus 100,000 a year, you'd be like, never in a million years is that going to happen. Now, like you say, you could be 23, 25, 21, 18, and because, I mean, with EXP, I don't know about the other brokerages, but you only need 2 years experience to join them solely, you know. The reality is there's a lot of agents with EXP, for example, and I know of some agents with other brokerages that are earning a hell of an excess of £100,000 a year.
Well, there's a lot of bitter 50-year-olds out there earning the same as 25-year-olds now, whereas that just wasn't the way back in the day. You know, there was a hierarchy to this thing, but yeah, it's incredible, and I think I know this for a fact. It's so early. Like we know this. We know what you know. I know what I know. The partner model, the self-employed side, we're doing it. There's so many people that don't still know it or know exist or know it's an option for them. And I think it's really exciting when you go to the Miami conferences, when you go to the Barcelona conferences and you meet people and you see what their numbers, and we're probably 20 years behind them. You're like, wow, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I must admit, when we went to Barcelona, which was the second time I think I met you, because I met you at the Birmingham conference the first time round.
This is the first time sober.
Yeah, it actually is, to be fair. Yeah, it is. That's a good shout. We probably shouldn't confess that on camera, to be fair. But yeah, no, so when we was out in Barcelona, like you say, meeting those other individuals from different countries, and they look at us in the UK and they go, what the hell? Like, why are you working for so little?
Yeah.
Let alone, I mean, the culture in most countries abroad, to be fair, is very common and standard practice to be self-employed, to have, you know, kind of sole ownership of your success and the customer service you give. Like, that is why they're charging 7-8% fees in some countries.
Imagine.
I
might move.
Yeah. That Barbados stream's coming a lot sooner, to be honest, isn't it? But like, it is mental to think like, you know, like they can sell a listing and make £100,000 commission like instantly.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, we tell them all the way of our system and they can't believe it, and some of their numbers are crazy. But I think also they are just ahead of us, especially the Americans, in terms of this model and this way of thinking about becoming an estate agent. You know, like I said, when you first think about doing this, all you do is you see a shop on a high street, you apply to become a negotiator, and you sit behind the desk for 6 days a week, and that was it. Whereas now, you know, pending having the experience, you can come straight into being a partner and you can be as good as you want to be. You know, there are people in this industry that are happy earning 50, 60K a year, and they'll do, you know, a few listings and they'll pick the kids up at 3 o'clock, or they'll have every weekend off, and that's there for you. You can have that. You know, some of our partners, if that's what they want to do, you know, in their area, fine. But then also, if you've got 7 days a week and you really want it, there are some silly numbers that you can be earned out there.
Literally. I mean, I've heard it through a couple of individuals that I'll reference, it's Connells, that are changing their ways, in the sense of, I've heard now that they have reduced the working hours on a Saturday down to 2:30.
Wow.
And I know that if you was to work a Saturday, you would get a day off in lieu. Wow. Whereas when I worked there, it was 6 days one week, 5 days the next. And if you even dreamt of shutting the shop 5 minutes before 4 o'clock, you would get an absolute bollocking. And even sometimes the area manager might turn up at like half an hour before the end of the day to make sure you're there.
You're there. Oh, by the way, I wasn't sure we could swear.
Yeah.
I'm a big swearer. I've been holding back.
Yeah. This is a podcast.
Said bollocking. Here we go. Right. So, but I literally vividly remember like finishing an appointment at 5:15. I was probably 10 minutes away from the office, and I drove back there to close the office up, and to be there, not to close the office up, somebody was there to close it up, but I drove there to sit there 5 minutes, to watch the lot of doors, then to go out. And I didn't even blink at doing that. That was just what you did. You were just so kind of, it was drilled into you that you had to be there. If you're working for us, you're working till 5:30. Whereas again, the freedom of what we do now, I do a lot of evening appointments, but you know what? I might not be sat here at 9 a.m. that morning. I might be, elsewhere. So as long as you're doing your numbers, as long as you're doing, your customer service, as long as you're kind of meeting with people and you're doing your job, you're no longer constricted to that horrible little 9 to 5, which I think is the best and one of the best parts about this as well. Because like I said earlier, there's people with, child care, they're looking after kids, or every Saturday kids play football at a certain time, so you don't work that time. But you know what, in the afternoon, if you want to nip out to an appointment, do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you've got I have 2 phones, one work phone, one personal phone. I decided to do that probably about 2 years into having the business. I know some people will have dual SIMs and stuff like that, or some people just have it all on one phone. But it got to a point for me personally where I was messaging back at like 9:30, 10 o'clock on a Friday evening because I saw that message come in, and I was okay doing it for a few years. And then it got to a point where I was doing well enough, and I thought, actually, like, it's okay to respond to that on Monday if tomorrow's a Sunday, or actually, I can pick it up 100%. Then. Like if it was a question regarding the sales progression that needed to be asked to a solicitor, if I can't give them that answer now, doesn't necessarily mean I need to respond to them at 9:30 on a Friday.
That was when I talked about the transition of going from employed to self-employed. That's the part that took me way too long to realise. I'm so used to response time. Email comes in, you respond. Phone rings, you answer it. Text message comes in, you reply to it. And I was doing that. I was burning out. I was replying to people at 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'd wake up, I'm an early rise. I'd wake up at 5, 6 o'clock. And if I got a text, I'd reply to people. Just didn't switch off at all. Whereas I suppose what we've created here with this brand and the way we present ourselves from day one is that our customers know, we set the stall out early. They know what they're going to get from us. And I do reply a lot in the evenings, and I do reply a lot in the mornings, but you're dead right. If I don't, they don't chase me for it. They know, because I've set the expectations out from day one. Because, going back to what I said earlier, this job now allows you to do that. You can be your personality. I remember when I first started this job, I'd come out of an appointment drained because I was kind of almost being a character for the hour while I was with these people. And I'd come out and go, right, and I'd be my normal self. Whereas now I go into every appointment as myself from start to finish. I answer every phone call. I deal with every inquiry as myself. And I think that's probably where I don't have the stress, because I'll never have to fake anything. I never say anything I don't mean. If I made a mistake, I own up to it. It's so liberating to just be like that versus, when you had it underneath that corporate brand, you had to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And you'd go home drained because you just were faking all day sometimes, or just trying to people please all the time.
I remember literally apologising to a few customers when I used to have phone call conversations with them when I was walking my dog. This was in the early days of having my business, because I felt guilty for basically doing that. And then even being on holiday, I remember feeling guilty for like going on my first holiday or finishing work early for the day. Not that they would know. This was an internal guilt that I felt because it was so regimented into me of like what I could do and what I couldn't do because I was employed. But it's quite ironic thinking about like, I'm just out. They wouldn't even know that I was walking my dog. They'd just hear and apologising for it. They wouldn't even know because they might hear a bit of wind, but I could be walking from one house to the next for all they know. But
that's that transition I was talking about. That's me personally. It was hard. Like Craig, for example, I think he just took it in his stride. He kind of switched. And some people are different, and I think people got to remember that if they are joining this brokerage, you will find your feet in your own time. Sometimes I feel like people don't give it long enough, and they don't. So that first year, I feel like that if you get past that first year comfortably, you're in it. If you can get that and you want it still after a year, it's yours forever as long as you want it. But there's a lot of people that are so used to being told what to do and where to be, then they go to the self-employed side, and they don't like the fact they've not kind of being told what to do, and they've got it on their shoulders. And I think that's where people like Reva Lilly help, because if you were to join the XP on your own, you've got the support of everybody. You can contact everybody, but you are on your own. It's your name, it's you're sat at home in your home office or whatever you've got. Whereas with Reva Lilly, what we can do is kind of be that hybrid where we're all partners, but you can come and work from here any day you want. You can come and sit with me, come out, let's go and have coffee together. We're really close with our partners. They can chat to us anytime. We're a team. And I think models like Reva Lilly work for those people that are unsure about dipping the toe in the water about the self-employed side. a transition to someone like us, like what you're building, is much easier than completely going alone. I think that I did it. I did the whole completely solo thing, and it probably made me what I am today. And I credit anyone that does it on their own as just under their name. But the fact is now that there's teams like Reva Lily and yourself that people can join and have the support, face-to-face support, as well as being partners. I think that's a nice thing to be able to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned it a couple of times just with amongst this episode that 12 months, like persevering 12 months. Now, when I joined DXB and set up my own business, I said basically 6 months is what you need to plan for your first paycheck. And I was quite fortunate. I got it literally like within 3 months.
Yeah.
What about your journey when you started?
So I think you're right. In terms of finances, I think 6 months is the right thing. I think after 6 months, you can start to see it coming in. You can start to kind of get an idea. But for me, mentally, 12 months is the point, because after 6 months, let's be honest, at the start, it's really exciting because you're trying to get your first listing. You go into all your viewings, you're negotiating your offers. There's no pipeline at that point. So it's all great. It's all front end stuff. You're winning business, you're selling houses, great. When you're a year in, all of a sudden you've had that pipeline, you've lost a few sales. The mental challenge of that is, I think, where people, they either fall out at start because they didn't make it and they didn't list, and the income doesn't come in and they run out of money quite early. But I think for me, that 12-month mark is a point where you've done the bit where you've got no income. You've now got some income coming in. You've now got a pipeline behind you. How do you feel? And after 12 months, if you go, this is amazing, I love it, then that's how it will feel. If you get to month 12 and you're still scrapping for your next one, or you're unsure whether you want to get out of bed and knock that door or post that social media post, then maybe it's not for you. And I think that you have to have those kind of harsh conversations with yourself, because it's not for everybody. I think you have to want a bit, and that's why I went back to it. Earlier I said that everybody at EXP wants it. Everybody that I've met on this we've all been through a very similar journey about jumping to self-employed. So we're all of the same mentality, and I think we take it for granted that there's people out there that aren't quite maybe as mentally strong, or as have got that will to want to do it, and maybe they join a state agency because they just wanted a job. So I think that 12-month marker is a real key point mentally. I think when you get to there, I think you're in it. If you've got to that bit and the money's coming in and the valuations are coming in and you're listing, you're selling, that's it. You're kind of flying now. But yeah, financially, I think 6 months is a really kind of wise place to kind of pinpoint, to say, right, get myself, let's say I'm not going to earn anything for 6 months. Let's pretend that's going to happen. So I've got myself my pot to look after me. And then hopefully, like you said, month 3, month 4, maybe month 5, income starts to come in and you can start to sit. So financially, yeah, 6 months, but mentally, I'd say a year. Yeah,
to be honest, I actually quite... never quite thought of it like that, although I have experienced it myself. But you are totally right. Like it is mentally challenging, isn't it? Let's be fair, setting up your own business and doing something that you may have done for 5, 10, 15 years prior, but doing it yourself and then not equally having potentially the support mechanism there day in, day out for you. Because as much as the model and the community is there, which is great, it is just you in your office at the end of the day. Obviously, you guys were quite fortunate that you had one another. So you had that good morale amongst each other. But it is challenging. It can be depressing. It can be low moments.
Yeah.
But if you remember why you took that leap of faith in the first instance, you need to continue to hold on to that drive and keep persevering, don't you?
If you want it, yeah. If you want it, and that's it. You have to have belief in yourself and you have to want it. And if you've got those two things, like, yeah, this is the job for you, and it's sky's the limit. I think it's not until you do it. It's kind of one thing where you have to jump into it. I think you just got to go for it. I think if you decide that this is what you want, you just got to jump in and go for it.
Okay, awesome. And in terms of like your personal goals now in life, we spoke about it earlier actually.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah,
so
I'm not wearing a watch right now. I'm driving a 13-year-old car. So for me, my personal goal now is I've just sold my house. I'm moving, and again, what I'm looking at, I won't mention numbers. What I'm looking at now, I wouldn't be able to do it without Reva Lily. I wouldn't have been able to do it without EXP. So yeah, I've kind of I'm not sure how to phrase it, but I'm not allowed to buy myself any kind of luxury goods until I've moved house. Once I've moved house, got Lily, got my daughter, got a wife, everything all set, that's when I can start to maybe splurge a little bit. So watches and cars can come later, but right now, family and house is the goal.
Yeah, of course. It's always priority, isn't it, to be fair? So, but it's quite nice having those goals that actually will be realistic for you to potentially achieve as long as you keep going the way that you're going.
And I'm not wearing it now, but I wear a Casio. just to remind myself, like, until you can't change that watch until you've, I mean, they're a solid watch, to be fair. You can't change it until you've hit those certain goals, those certain targets. I think everyone's different. For me, I kind of have to almost punish myself to get to certain places. So by not having, say, luxury items every day, when I want that watch, my friends have got them, I'm looking at them on Instagram and things like that, I think, but until I've hit that target, I can't do it. So yeah, that's a couple of very small personal goals, is cars and watches and houses, which is a huge perk of, again, where we're at right now.
Yeah, but what's equally important amongst that message there is prioritising.
Oh yeah,
you know, you know, if you really want to.
My wife made me do it. I wouldn't really. I'd have bought the watch if I could have. No. It's, do you know what?
I was going to say, do you want to wipe that thumbprint mark up?
Yeah. It's really cheesy, but since Lily's 3 actually next week, and my whole ambition and goals will change because of her, and I want her to have the want to go to the school that I didn't go to, I want to have the garden that I didn't have as a kid. So I want her to have those certain things. And I'm actually more excited about that than I am about getting a new car and a new watch. And yeah, it's super cheesy and it's weird being a dad, but it does that to you. So
yeah, mate, I agree. So my daughter Callie's going to be 2 in New Year's Eve. So and like
mental too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the terrible 2s. But equally, like, I was on Facebook for like only a few minutes this morning before I got out of bed, and this video come on, and it's like the best moments of being a father and stuff, and like it brings this soppy side out of you, doesn't it?
I love it. I love being a dad.
It's class. It is class, and it's that when you walk out and you obviously hear them upset, but when you walk home and you get that smile and you get that grin, it makes everything that you do worthwhile.
I mean, I did it quite late on. Like I said, I'm over 40 now, and she's nearly 3, and I'm quite pleased I did, because I don't think I'd have been ready 10 years ago. But yeah, being a dad's just the best thing ever. My whole life's changed. I mean, again, it's so cheesy, so cliche, but it is. It's incredible. But it means, it's like, doing this, again, I don't think I could have done it before Lily. I don't think I quite had that drive. I was a little bit selfish. What was I doing it all for? Well, if I wanted a car, I could just go and lease one.
Yeah.
If I wanted a watch, I can get one on finance. There was no kind of real financial incentive to do it. But now with Lily, it's like, yeah, I want to do this the proper way. I want to kind of better her life, make nice things for her. And then I want to make her proud. So I want to look good. I want to drop her off in a nice car outside the school gates. I want to wear the watch and do all that and treat myself a little bit. So yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Mate, it's lovely to hear your story, and I really appreciate your time today, to be fair. And I'm pretty confident that the next 5 years ahead and beyond that for Eva Lily is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So Thank you, mate.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Cool.